Hi, today I am 26 days and hi, I haven't done an update since I was 22 weeks along, and now I am 26. Hi, it's been a little while since I did an update. The last time I was 22 weeks along, and now I am 26 weeks plus 5 days, and I'll be 27 on Saturday, and that begins my third trimester with these twin babies. It has been a roller coaster of events concerning my prenatal care, and I'll just briefly go over some of those. So I switched from the first hospital, Balboa Naval Medical Center, because of the doctor um, that I had just had no clue about twin pregnancies whatsoever and was just giving me guidelines and I guess typical practices and policies that go along with a singleton pregnancy. Even those things I didn't agree with, but he just had no clue about anything. It was very forceful and argumentative, and and acting as if it was his decisions to make. So got rid of him. Next, I moved on to Sharp Grossmont in La Mesa, and I'm going to the prenatal clinic there, and I'm seeing a group of midwives who are overseen by, I think, 4 or 5 doctors. So, the appointment before last, I asked my questions about the labor and delivery policies and how those things would go. And the nurse that I was talking to, very kind, very good nurse, um, called a midwife in there to ask her, and the midwife didn't know. So the midwife had to go ask a doctor, and I don't know what doctor she asked, but she came back and said that I would be required to deliver in the OR and that I would be required to have an epidural placed for just in case reasons, which I'm absolutely not okay with. Um, I'm going to fight to have the kind of birth that I want, but there are some things that I would give and take on. I wasn't I would go to the OR if, at that point, I was saying I would go to the OR if my doula and my husband were both allowed. If they weren't allowed, then I would refuse to go. But even after that, I started to say, I'm not going to deliver in the OR at all. I don't want to even go in that environment for just in case reasons. And, you know, when you're in that environment, then maybe your head starts to think certain ways. And I just don't feel like that being in the OR would be conducive to the natural, peaceful delivery that I want to have and that I know I can have, that my body is capable of doing. So I came home and I ranted about it on Facebook, and um, that was that. So I started looking for, and oh, they also said that under no circumstances would they deliver a breech baby. Um, and I was referring to if baby A was head down and baby B was breech. They said under no circumstances would they deliver baby B breech. So what concerned me about that was if baby A was head down and baby B was breech, baby A came down, baby A came out, they would automatically go wheel me off to C-section just because baby B was breech without waiting for him to turn or anything like that. Things like that I was afraid of. And I didn't know how long they would wait for him to turn. They just have it in their minds that they're not delivering a breech baby. And I feel comfortable delivering a baby breech. I feel very comfortable. I've done my research. I've seen the statistics, um, birth injuries to breech babies, and basically the injuries would come from a doctor not knowing what they're doing and trying to pull the baby out. But if you just let the mother's body birth it, then there's usually not any major issues besides a lower APGAR score at 5 minutes. But that's my own research. Do your own research. Don't base it off of my decisions. Anyway, I'm comfortable fine delivering A and B breech, but they were absolutely not. So my next step was to go and find a doctor who was adept at delivering breech babies. And I did find him, but he was kind of crude, and I didn't like him. Our personalities didn't match. As far as everything else, he was good. He also said though that he would talk about delivering baby A breech. Baby B needed to, or baby A needed to be head down, but he would allow a breech delivery. He would allow a breech delivery for baby B. Um, in the meantime, a nurse saw my post on Facebook, a nurse from Sharp Grossmont, the prenatal clinic, and she did some research on her own and had another doctor ask, and he said under that I wouldn't have to deliver in the OR at all if I didn't want to. That wasn't the hospital policy. They actually pulled out the policies and looked. That wasn't hospital policy to make a multiple mom deliver in the OR, and that I would not absolutely not be required to have an epidural, that they couldn't require me to have an epidural anyway, but that they wouldn't be pushing for it either. So I thought that that was good news, but they still are not gonna deliver any baby's breech. So I had an ultrasound on Tuesday. Both babies are head down. So I'm praying and hoping that they stay that way. Um, and I believe that they will. This pregnancy is healthy and it's going according to plan. My body was designed to conceive these two babies, and my body was designed to grow them, and my body was designed to birth them, and I believe that with all of my heart. I was designed by an ultimate creator who knew what he was doing. So I trust him. Um, in the meantime, I'm also looking at the Sanctuary Birth Center in Los Angeles, which is 2 hours away from here. My family lives in the greater Los Angeles area, so if that panned out, I would go live with them towards the end of the pregnancy and be closer to the birth center. But it's expensive and I cannot afford a dime of it. But they also have a nonprofit part of their business, and I had to write a letter and state my circumstances and why giving birth there would matter for me, and so I've done that, and I'm supposed to hear back from them tomorrow to see if they will allow me to deliver there um, at a reduced cost. So I'm hoping that that works out. That's my number one choice. These are my last babies, and I can fight for my birth, or I can just go have a peaceful, supported birth. And that's what I desire. I would do a home birth if there were any midwives in California who did home births, and if I could afford to pay for all the equipment and the services and fees. I would absolutely do that, but that doesn't seem to be going to work out. My number one choice is the sanctuary. My number two choice is the Sharp Grossmont, and then I guess if nothing else works out, then I'll end up at Balboa. But I don't even see how that would even. I'd go to any hospital before I went down to Balboa. I feel like there's a lot of training people, a lot of people who have no experience, and so they're trying to get their experience by doing any kind of procedure that they want to do. So anyway, that's what's going on with me. My pregnancy is healthy and it's coming along. I'm hoping to possibly hire a birth photographer, because that is the main thing that I want to do, is put it out there how you can deliver twin babies peacefully, comfortably, healthily, and it doesn't have to be this scary thing. And I don't have any fear about my babies. I don't have any fear about the labor and delivery. I just have all of this stress and turmoil from having to fight for the things that I shouldn't be having to fight for, since it's my body and my babies anyway. One last thing is that I canceled an appointment yesterday at Sharp Grossmont Prenatal Clinic because I was in between deciding whether I was going to go there or go to this other doctor who does breech deliveries. And the midwife called me and she was upset. I didn't answer the phone because I couldn't find it in fast enough. So she called my husband at work, and my husband called me and said she was being very forceful and telling him that I needed to call her right now and that he needed to get me on the phone. And so when I called her back, she was just saying all these, I declined genetic testing, and she was saying how she needed to specifically talk to me about that, and she needed to see why, and I don't, that's what I don't understand. If I decline genetic testing, I decline genetic testing. I don't need to be talked to by another midwife on why I should do it, or I feel like my decisions aren't being respected, and this is all along the way. So at this point, so late in the game, I've decided that the prenatal appointments are just going to be what they are, and I'm not going to fight so much during the prenatal appointments because it was drawing my attention away from the positive, beautiful parts of being pregnant and focusing on my babies and talking to my boys, relaxing each day, spending some time away by myself to focus and think about and picture how I want my labor and delivery to go. All those things that I love that I'm not going to get to do again. So I decided that at the appointments I don't need to fight. They can say what they need to say. I know what I'm going to do and what I'm not going to do, and I say no easily. And I'm comfortable and okay with saying no because I've educated myself, I've informed myself, and I'm not going to argue with them. I'm going to say no, and that's going to be it. And I'm not going to let it cause anxiety or turmoil to build up within me. So that's where I am. I'll probably do another update in a month, so that I'll be at 30 weeks, and then the countdown goes from there. 10 more weeks that I plan on carrying these babies to full term. So we'll see how that goes. In the meantime, just if you're pregnant with twins, keep a positive attitude. Find some positive affirmations to listen to or read every day, and know that your body was made to deliver babies. Um, do your research, be informed, and fight for your birth. Bye.